Welcome to Journey to Service. I'm William Laddick, and yes, I am back. I've made it back, and look who I've got with us this time. We've got Cody Waas back, and we got Randall Kaiser joining us today. Gentlemen, welcome.
How you guys doing?
I'm going to, I feel like this week has been absolutely wonderfully crazy and chaotic and stupendous and fabulous. So I'm going to just kind of give you guys the free reins on wherever you want to go. The only thing I'll do is just jump on one and then let the other one talk after that. So we haven't heard from Cody for quite some time. So Randall, if you don't mind, I'm going to touch base with Cody first. And Cody, first of all, welcome back. We missed you. It's been a long time. And now we'd like to hear what's up. You've been telling me sort of off camera that a whole bunch of cool things have been happening, and then there's some things you'd like to share. So please enlighten us. What's been going on in your world?
Sounds good. Yeah, no, it's great to be back. I don't even know if it's been like a month or so I haven't been on here, but yeah, it's been kind of a wild few weeks, or 3-4 weeks, starting with the kind of the injuries and stuff that I had, and a bunch going on. These crazy toothache that was like something I've never experienced in my life. You can hardly even function with that. And then the last few weeks, yeah, some of the stuff that I've shared with you in regards to this private banking platform and many other aspects to it, holistic retreats, villas, like outback type healing centers and stuff, like off the grid, and much more to it all. But it's something I've been working with basically the progenitor of the platform, and there's like currency interchange, major assets and stuff that's held, all sorts. It's really really an impressive organization. But I've been doing like certain steps through that to basically come on board as with a services management agreement with them. And there's many different avenues and stuff. I'm going to be able to help through that. And there's going to be some parts of it. It's, for the most part, most of it's always been extremely private. And no one would even have any idea that a lot of this stuff is going on and in place, because it's like completely outside of the system. But there's going to be other avenues now that's going to be opening up for the public, and a lot of cool stuff that's exciting. So they keep, over the last year, every time I would meet with him, they'd like unveil more layers of it all. And every time it's just mind blowing. So it's refreshing for me, because after so many years, like over a decade of, starting or getting into things or being in some of these major transactions, or the RVGCR stuff, all this stuff for so long, and nothing really coming to fruition. It's a breath of fresh air to be part of something that's really, it's well established and definitely doing things and not getting affected by all these other things going on. So that's cool. And then there's been a lot of other pretty crazy things that have happened as well. I'm not going to really go into details, but it's stuff I've kind of hinted at a few times in the past. And it's things that I started picking up on even over a year ago, and just catching little things that were off, and kind of like kept putting more pieces of the puzzle together, and figuring out through other people and certain things that happened that there's just been crazy, massive, like levels of just manipulation and deception and subtle like control, and it's the twisted truth. Good people being led kind of in the wrong direction. I think really some of these things, like a lot of like really good-hearted people, and it's been really eye-opening for a handful of people, but that's definitely kept me busy the past few weeks. And the good thing is so much seems to be changing right now, like at a rapid pace, with all these amazing things that we know of going on with the DOSM, there's several other things I know as well, that a lot of these old constructs, old ways of thinking, you know, it seems like it's dissolving, and hopefully good things will really start to happen here soon.
I had one thought that I wanted to ask about, Cody, with you while you were saying some of the things that you were sharing with us, and that is that like obviously a lot's going on like both sides of the scale, and I've heard over the years, different truthers saying things like, we're in a war, we're in this kind of battle. And do you see it that way, or how do you see that when you hear a comment like that? What does that bring to mind for you? Are we in a war of some kind, or how do you take that?
I feel it's more of like a war on consciousness, and there's, everybody's kind of been programmed and indoctrinated, and we all have limiting beliefs and these things, and it's caused so much like division. But I personally feel, and this gets like just really deep, so I'm like, I won't even talk about it, but I have like a lot of like direct experience and have felt the effects of this as well, but that there is like definitely like more of an unseen, whether it's, technology or entities, or, like a satanic, like energetic consciousness, like in a sense. There's a lot of people that talk about this stuff in depth. Some people talk about like the matrix system, or the AI system that controls things, that's controlled from basically other dimensional or off, which is definitely very real, but it's also, somewhat dissolving. But I feel there's still remnants of it like happening, because it can be so subtle. It can be things, just getting people to polarize with each other, or different groups because of different perspectives or thoughts, without, such subtle ways of changing things. Because some of these things can kind of like work outside of time, or they're accurately can predict things through the future, because of these kind of super systems that have read and mapped us for so long, know our every thoughts and moves and all this stuff. But we're able to like get around that when we truly just like tap into our true selves, and set the ego aside, and really have that desire to find truth in the earnestness, and just act our authentic selves, which is I feel that's definitely one of the major things. So it's and that's working through so many avenues, through whether the dark side of the military. I feel everything's been infiltrated somewhat. So there is definitely war going on, I feel, but it's not really what a lot of people think. I think a lot of times it's keeping people confused and from coming together and uniting, and creating enemy constructs on an energetic level that does its thing in the unseen to keep all this stuff going.
Now, you said something interesting there, and I think this is a good way to lead into Randall here. Actually, you were saying that there's a lot of things being restricted, and the energies are trying to be subdued. But in fact, what we're starting to see, especially when it comes to big rigs out there, we're starting to see a lot of movement happening, and there's these truckers that are doing some amazing things in our country, Randall, Canada. And the consciousness, I think, is rising, because everybody seems to be watching these guys and talking about these guys and sharing. Like every channel I watch, there's some mention of the Canadian truckers, and a huge amount of pride and excitement seems to be happening around that. Can you share with us a little bit more about your experience of that whole thing? Because I know you've been talking about it all week long.
Well, mercy sakes alive.
Thank you very much,
William. And the beauty of it is it's got to do with what Cody's talking about. It's the synchronization of God's plan. Okay, it's that simple. Like we can now come up with human constructs, and we've got some beauties coming forward, like what Cody talked about, platform trading. I've mentioned that kind of language to people before. That's where a lot of money or currency or funds, whatever words you want to use on it, is held. And when it comes in out of there, it's supposed to go to humanitarian projects. We have had a new world order in place for a couple hundred years. Okay, that term and people saying that it's coming and stuff, bullshit. It's always been here for many years, and the squeeze has been on and on and on. See how much you can, how much we can control them. You know, how much we can get them to do, like wander around with fucking diapers on their faces. You know, because of a cold, and it's not even a cold. When you go back to Pasteur and Beauchamp and say, wait a minute, Pasteur said the germ theory, which led to pharmaceuticalism, which led to where we are now. And Beauchamp said it was terrain theory, that your body is just trying to get rid of poisons that we put into it, because we do that every day. Every bit of food that we put in our bodies is rejected at some stage. Either it goes out the back end, or if it's poisonous enough, it causes us to get sick and spew it out in our snot and our whatever, you know. So it's just amazing. But you know, I wanted to mention what Cody was talking about there again with the platform that he's working with. I'm so happy to hear that, because there is not one, okay? There's not one anything when it comes to humans, other than the one consciousness that's within you that you can tune into yourself. I call it DNA, direct or divine natural activation, or authenticity. And that's up to you to find that. But on the outer, there's not one. There's just oodles of different constructs. And it's so beautiful. Doesn't Rick Dewar say beautiful like that? I think he does.
He does.
I love Rick too. And there's another construct, right? What those guys are doing. It's beautiful, Rick. He's the ones. And all the ones that are involved with him. I love Rick. I haven't talked to him a long time, but Lee, of course, comes in with us. Couldn't make it today, but you know, it's another construct, and I love it. You know, like I get into discussions with some of these characters. I was on one this morning with a QFS program, and I don't want to mention his name because I'm not trying to judge anybody other than Trudeau and sometimes Trump and those fucking goofs. But you know, like this guy, he had this beautiful story about consciousness, and people who wake up will come to this program and all this. And then all of a sudden I'm reading his documents, it's nothing but fucking legal jurisdiction babble. And I'm like, the fuck? The fuck, you know? IPOs, like really? That's all legal jurisdiction. He even had the word stock market in his stuff. And I'm like, buddy, you know, I love you to pieces. And yeah, you got a good one. And I'm not saying it's bad. And yes, people have to come in. Oh, look at that dog. What's his name?
That's Luca. Luca.
Oh, nice. But yeah, you know, the idea of bringing it back to a legal jurisdiction like that, it frustrated me. Hi. And it was like, okay, I'm not going to argue it. And like I say, many people are still going to need that legal jurisdiction for generations. You know, they're going to still want to follow Trump, you know, or somebody like that. And, you know, JFK Jr., if he comes back to life, whoever, you know, like it's all good stuff. Especially knowing now that we have put this fucking New World Order gang on the run. You know, like the people have risen. And that's just, it's just touching. Like I've had such an emotional week, like at gatherings I've been at, and big rallies. I don't call them protests. They're rallies for love and peace. And walked yesterday down here in Calgary and down the streets, and I have never in my life seen so many smiles. I mean, I've been at big events in the past, like fucking hockey game in the Saddle Dome or whatever, that kind of dog and pony show, whatever, or bread and circus, I call it. But and then Canada Day celebrations and stuff like that, where people are gathered by the thousands. But yesterday, my God, Cody, you should have seen it. It was just smile after smile after smile. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Nice. It was all joy. It was just stunning. And I mean, there's fucking 52,000 times as many of them in Ottawa. Somebody said that the population of Ottawa is 1 million. And they're saying that right now around Ottawa, and they're still coming in that vicinity, there's 2.5 million people. You know, like, what the fuck? And, you know, tens of thousands of heavy iron trucks and tractors and stuff. Like, this is it, guys. And it's spread now across the world. And, you know, even Trump supposedly said something encouraging about it, even though he also said that go and get your shot, you know, the fucking moron. But set that aside, he knows damn well that it's fucking done. And he's going to have to jump on board, or they'll turn those trucks after they leave Ottawa and head down to Washington, D.C. and close the swamp that he couldn't drain. They'll come right down to fucking Mar-a-Lago. So he better get on board. The same with all these fucking multimedia, mainstream media goofs. I had a guy on yesterday and I posted it on my channel, and I've got more views than I've got on any of my fucking babble that I do. The guy's already got 1,000 views on my channel for a short 3-minute video. He's talking about the stock market. He's an old trucker, and he says, just try us. He says, just try us. You don't start telling the truth about these truckers, you watch. The Reddit system that he works with will wipe you out. He said, and it's not wipe you out in terms of anger or anything. It's just, we're going to take all your money away. So what are you going to do then? You know, you're a publicly traded entity, CBC, CDV, ITV, we call it here, but global news. What are you going to do without any money? So start fucking telling the truth. Yesterday, I watched an article on this global news network in Toronto. 80% of it was truth. It was amazing. I actually shared it. I thought, holy shit, I haven't watched mainstream media in fucking years. And I saw that and I thought, they got it. So it's all unfolding, folks. There's nothing stopping it. And that unfolding is what Cody and I are talking to on the monetary level, is because that new world order government was not just manipulating and exploiting the media being religion, okay, television, Hollywood, all of that is just media, because the religion is pumping a bunch of stuff into you rather than allowing it to come out of you, you know. So religion belongs in that category, the military, and then this whole banking scheme, which was under control of that same New World Order gang that was manipulating the flow of funds, which are unlimited, okay? Off-ledger assets are just as, you know, off-ledger asset-backed accounts are still just a sliver of the amount of mined products, gold, silver, precious gems, whatever, that are sitting, okay, not even off-ledger in the banking system, okay? So any kind of construct that someone's going to come up with is going to be a human construct that's still talking in terms of limitation, because there is no fucking limit. And that's what we talk on this show, right, Cody?
Right. Yeah.
No limits.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask Cody the next question too, because there's a lot of good things happening. And actually, for me personally, it was a very emotional week, very interesting in that there were a lot of challenges that came up, and it was emotional roller coaster ride for me. Have you experienced, and I've been noticing it not just with me, but with other people in other situations and things like that. Have you had anything like that experience in your week at all?
Oh, extremely. Yeah, no, I definitely know what you're talking about. Especially the last 2 weeks. I've definitely felt the same thing, like, you know, whether it's, you know, the energies or something flowing through, but yeah, a lot of, like, it was like a roller coaster ride, ups and downs, like, you know, trying to keep myself, like, my frequency up, trying to stay in that, you know, just higher consciousness, good mood. It was definitely difficult at times. And, you know, anxiety, a lot of things. It was weird, you know, constant pressure, you know, even somewhat today, like on my chest and my head, and many headaches, you know, so who knows? It's, you know, could be a sign that just things are really changing. But I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. And I know others have as well.
Cool. Well, that definitely to me is a sign that something's happening energetically too. And I'm not sure, I've never probed into this area, and I'm sure if it's even an area that you're comfortable in getting into or whatever. But um, it's just I like to see where different people are at. And usually when I notice something in my world, I'm not alone. Usually there are other people who are experiencing something similar, at least in a parallel way, rather than maybe not necessarily the same circumstances or the same events or the same even the emotions, but the energy. There's certain like parallel energies or lessons or things that happen that way. um, I'm just curious, is that an area that you're open to talking a little bit more about, or do you kind of want to let's get back to talking about some of the projects and things that you've been working with?
No, I mean, yeah, I'm more than open to talk more about it. It's, I'm not any like expert when it comes to it all though. Like this goes with a lot of the stuff. Like I've dove so deep into, really deeply researching and like gathering knowledge and trying to understand things. But for me, like, so I understand things on a deep level, but it's very difficult for me to put in the right words at times. You know, it's people talk about like some people talk about like ascension symptoms and stuff when it comes to the energies, and it's it's good energies, but things come up within your own physical vessel that there's all sorts of things. Some of the things I was just talking about, headaches, ringing in the ears, these fluctuations of mood, like being depressed and then feeling okay, or whatever it may be. And then there's there definitely is other things that that I feel and I'm pretty much certain about, that go on as well, on like a really high level, like psychic attacks, energetic attacks, various technologies that some of these groups have, that definitely can do some of these things as well, and affect things. I've been experiencing a lot of this stuff for a long time, and a lot of it, I would have never even really noticed it if I wasn't pressing so hard through certain things and didn't have all the background and all the different things I did previously, and trying like with every ounce of my effort to get. And I would notice when there were certain things, like something would try to like basically when I would like connect the dots, it'd be like, a Christmas tree lighting up, and because I just have so much like in my cellular memory of so many things. I connect the dots and I'm like, okay, that's exactly it. That's what's going on. And, it comes so clear to me at times. And this is especially when you're really in that flow state and just like, people say like connected in with your like heart, mind, and to your spirit. And, these things come to you, divine inspiration, it's like, this is how like God communicates. But and being aware of it though is where it can bring opportunities and various things. But that's what I was gonna say. I just forgot what I was gonna say, which is exactly explaining what I was gonna say. Was it is I know this will sound crazy, but memories will be swiped like directly when these things happen. I'll be like, okay, perfect, I need to write this down. This is especially certain things I've been involved in like strategic kind of operations that I kind of took on like upon myself, like even years back, finding these disconnects, trying to put all the pieces together. But it'll just be gone like a dream. So like, for example, I mean, some people hardly remember their dreams. Some people, remember their dreams. Some people can lucid dream and they're conscious and aware within their dreams, and they can kind of like, affect things and do things. I'm not like an expert when it comes to like dream time, but I know there's definitely some importance there. And it's, whether we're like tapping into like another reality or whatever it may be. But it's like when you, like my dream, like for weeks now, it's been crazy as well. I feel like I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, like going through battles or some crazy operation or trying to like exit the matrix or something, and, have the codes, wake up and it's like, whoa. And then within a second it's gone, and this, if you're not super aware and trying to catch these things, you would never know, because, you know, normally you wake up and you're like, oh yeah, I have a dream. You'll remember some of the dream. And, you know, some people will keep remembering it, you know, at least pieces of it. Or some people, they like to write down their dreams. So they'll grab a thing and they'll write it down. But at times, like, at least for me, like, I will go to like write something down, and within a split second, it's just gone, you know? And that's what happens with a lot of things, especially when I'm like not feeling good, in this lower mood, you know, emotions, lower, you know, frequency, vibration. It gets hard, and like cloudy thoughts. And it's very, very difficult. But you know, whatever is doing that, there's a lot of people that talk about these things and what, you know, it possibly could be. And it could be many different things, but that's something that I've definitely noticed and experienced. But it's so subtle that I would have never, I caught on to it, like really caught on to it like several months back. That, you know, it's almost like the matrix in the system. It's kind of subtly redirecting, you know, through, and they really have these technologies that do this stuff, that can influence your thoughts, and, you know, subtly, like through frequency type things, all sorts of stuff. But you don't even know that it's not you. You know, this is why it's so important to really be able to tap into your heart, because that, when you do that and you stay in that higher frequency, when you can keep yourself in the higher level, it can't, like, these things that they use to kind of like redirect you off your path, or, you know, keep you from meeting somebody, or keep you from figuring something out that might cause something in the future, because these things map things, you know, outside of time. So they when you stay in the higher, like, it can't affect you, you know, or these other entities, parasitic stuff, which it can't really affect you as much. So that's what I try to do, but it's been difficult the past couple of weeks
Now,
to stay like in that higher mood. And
you said that, you know, you very quickly, it was just like one word you said, it's you know, crazy times. Would you say that what we've been experiencing, especially the last week or two, that it might be, in fact, some of the most emotionally intensive experiences that we as a race, if I can call it that, as humanity, have ever experienced? Would you go that far, or would you just say it's just a, you know, we're just a phase we're kind of going through?
I would say it would be pretty close, because I mean, I've gone through points, you know, years past and stuff that were probably like way worse, but it was through other things. I didn't have the awareness then. I didn't have the knowledge. I didn't have the higher level of consciousness to truly know, you know, it was through other things affected me, and my own, you know, things that I was doing that was bringing myself down or whatever. But it's, you know, I would say it's, you know, it's up there, and it's, you know, whether it's, there's just things definitely changing. It's like, you know, all these energies coming in and mixing, and then, you know, the other side, the people trying to keep us stuck here in the matrix, here on this lower level here, you know, and keep control over us, are, you know, using whatever they can. So to me, it's a sign that they're desperate, and you know, doing whatever they can to try to keep this breakthrough from happening for us.
Desperate times call for desperate measures, it seems. Randall, what about you? What have you experienced? A lot of you definitely said, you know, in the beginning of your last answer, when we you know, led over to you, that you've seen more smiles on people's faces this past week than you've seen in a long time. And obviously that's a sign of emotion, a very high energy, happy emotion. What has been your experience for you personally, as well as, you know, just sort of your environment over the last week or two? Has it been that crazy for you too?
I think Randall's just always happy and smiling, and in that euphoric state. I want what he's got.
Well, what I got is simple, you know, like it's the idea that it's information that's coming in that we either allow in or we don't allow in, you know, like I don't want to say I'm not anything. I just think in a simpler sense, you know, I don't watch hardly anything anymore unless it's got a really nice positive feel to it. And then I just produce my own shit, you know, like I just keep yapping. So and then I watch my stuff and I'm like, where the hell did you come up with that, guys? You know, I kind of have these fucking talks with myself, you know, like it's weird, but I spend most of my time alone. I go to the rallies and, you know, meet up with the odd person down there, but the rest of it, I'm just walking and in like meditative zone most of the time. Other than, of course, on my phone doing business. And my business is a lot of times just calming people down, you know, bringing those fucking emotions out of this beautiful ascension that's happening in the banking world as well. So, you know, you said something about ups and downs. The ups that I get are me trying to come back down to a grounded conscious state from an egoic fuck you Trudeau, you fucking moron state, you know, because that's where I go. If I go anywhere, I go up there. And it's not anger, it's just complete non-sympathy for a pathetic piece of shit that is running away now because he knows that he's fucking cooked. And you know, it's not about I like it talking in public because there's people around listening when I talk about it. But you know, it's not as if I don't have pity. I put on a pity party for him in one of my videos the other day. Sure, I have pity for you. I mean, God Almighty, you poor pathetic beast. You know, like, of course I have pity. I have mercy for you. But get the fuck out of the way, you know, like seriously. I don't have any sympathy for you standing up and saying something as goddamn ridiculous as, oh, it's just a little minority group that's not going along with us conscious people, and they're radicals and they're not caring about humanity. Fuck off. Like, really? You know, like, what a fucking moron to say shit like that. It's just unbelievable that we could even, you know, allow that to happen on the media. But the media is getting in there tuning into, and they'll wake up. I mean, it's done now. It's just a matter of simply going with the flow and staying out of that egoic, angry mode that I get into once in a while, because, you know, I want to cut loose on Trump too. Like, of course you want to support the truckers now, because you know damn well what'll happen if you don't. The rest of the truckers in America who have 10 times as many trucks as we've got up here in Canada are ready to go. And not just to Washington, D.C., but if you don't get on board with them, they'll be back in Mar-a-Lago in your front yard there, Trump. And I mean, he's not telling the truth about, you know, anything so far. Like, he's still just spewing out legal jurisdiction, corporate mumbo jumbo garbage. I mean, seriously. And then the Q folks, cutie pies, I call them, are just, you know, oh, he's talking in code, give him a break. Okay, I'll give you all a break. You know, because you just want to hang in that zone with him, that's okay. But lift yourselves up, be sovereign, know what the common sense truth is here, that there's abundance, there's no limitations, which is a corporate mentality word. So yeah, if anything this week, the emotions, William, were from that pride and from that joy that was inside, to see other people smiling, to see other people finally saying, holy shit, this is just a big fucking joke, which is all it is. Just a bunch of words twisted and numbers twisted. That's all it was. There's nothing else. There's no pedantic explanation on the scientific side of the alternative media for this either. They can't figure it out either. They want to go there and say, oh, I got Dr. So-and-so who says that this and that, whatever. It's just a word. And we can't say those words on our YouTube channel because we'll get banned. It's so bloody obvious anymore. It's not even funny. So joy is my emotion, William, and it's not going to stop.
Awesome, Randall. And I think that kind of correlates to what Cody was alluding to, is that Randall's usually a pretty upbeat guy, and it doesn't seem like he gets in those, you know, down patches too much, except for, you know, the Trudeau comments and things like that.
Yeah.
But you know, it's an interesting time overall, though. I mean, I'm sure that you've seen a lot of people this week who have, well, I know you have, because you already said so. You said you've seen all these smiles from different people that you hadn't seen for quite some time. And let's face it, it's been a bit of a rocky road for a lot of people in the last year and a half, 2 years. And to have something that's this exciting, this energetically uplifting, it can only make you smile, really, can't it?
I don't know what else it's going to do. I mean, jump around or dance, like it's just amazing. And, did I mention this earlier in the show, or were we talking about it before, where that stock market trucker? Did I mention that in the show yet? Because I want to.
I know you talked about it, but I'm not sure if it was in the show or not.
Well, if I'm repeating myself, I apologize, but I'm going to say it again because this guy's worth a watch, and he's on my YouTube channel. I copied his video onto my channel so that I could share it because I couldn't share it otherwise. And I thought, this is a good thing to share. Of course, he's got way more views on my channel than I got on my own channel. But it's 3 minutes of heaven where he's saying to CTV News, CBC News, and Global News, smarten up and tell the truth, or, the stock market is going to take you out. So I think I did say this already, but it's worth reiterating because honestly, go to my channel. If you can't find it anywhere else, look it up, share the shit out of that, because the mainstream media is just as bad as the politicians, is just as bad as the, Hollywood and freaking religious bullshit that they're pumping into your heads. It's all the same. That new world order construct is all part of all of those things. So it's coming down, and it's coming down fast. And it's like, okay, now what do we replace it with? Well, Cody's given you an example. Dynastic Order of St. Miriam. I'm going to give you a little example of where we're at this week, okay? Just, a minute or two. So, we're involved with ancient asset-backed accounts, okay? And I'll keep saying those same words all the time. I get in discussions with people with QFS systems, and that's fine. Do your thing, whatever you're doing. I'm not arguing with you. Our main purpose is 144 Andromeda cities on every part of this beautiful heavenly plane of Earth that we live on. And that's going to take thousands and thousands of people to get that done. We've only got a few hundred so far. So are we going to change the whole world? No. So we need people like Cody and his platform, and GPMS, and those people that are beautiful people that are thinking in terms of consciousness. And, they maybe don't have a project yet at this point in time, but it'll come. And it's the project that brings the godliness. You got to have something, like Cody was saying earlier, they've got actual physical 3D things in their minds that they're going to build. We've got to have that. Just building a QFS system is one thing, but what are you going to do with it? So what we're going to do with it is build these beautiful cities with dome structures, spiritually conscious buildings, and, natural feeding and natural healing. If their people need to be healed, they probably won't need it because they're going to be so damn healthy when they live there. But all of that stuff is there. And these are like, they're scaled up from, a conscious community right up to a city. We've got a plan and a template for $20 billion for each of these cities, the actual Andromeda city. But from there, it's going to come down to communities and stuff where we can, fund those as well, because it doesn't take much more than a couple $1 million in a small community level to get something conscious started. So of course it's going to happen too. And all of these funds are going to be released, and one at a time. And whether it's still through the platform trading programs that they release them, or what we work with at the federally regulated tables, which I'm not supposed to speak about, Virgin, but I do. I love Virgin. She just, don't you do that. She gets mad and angry at me talking about it in public. She says, it's a secret society. I said, not anymore, sweetheart. Like, you want to deal with this, dude, you're going to hear about it. But I won't give a lot of details of it. It's just like another platform, but it's up at the higher levels, again, of government, or whatever. She uses that word. But it's, these corporate governments have a place to place their private, okay? Because corporate government is a private thing. So they have a private placement for these government level institutions, these corporations, and they have a place for these placements as well. And that's what it's called, the federally regulated tables. they've locked out a bunch of these corporations, these corporate governments that aren't doing a very good job. And Justin Trudeau is going to be locked out himself here now because he's out the door. So it's like, it's such a beautiful construct that's happening from God's level, okay? Because there's nothing anybody can say that I did this, I did that. Yes, we have our DOSM, which is in my mind, divine, because it's a beautiful natural design, but it's still a human construct. It's still a human story. So when I say yours is just a story, it's not a divine project, or it's not a godly project. Oh yes, it is. Well, I'm not arguing that mine's not. Mine's a story, or ours, if you want to call it ours, dynastic order of Saint Miriam. So it's just unfolding now, and it's got a place to unfold because the people have stood up, whether they know what they're standing up to or not, to the new world order construct that's been in place, squeezing their heads psychologically and pharmaceutically for decades.
So Randall, you're basically saying that DOSM is a type of construct, a positive one, if I can call it that. That might be too limiting, but it's a tool. It's an opportunity for a way of moving into something new and fresh and much more beneficial to humanity as a whole. But it's not the end all be all. It's just one element. Like if I'm understanding it correctly, and I guess what I'm basically asking you is am I understanding it the way you're presenting it? Is it one element and there's room for other elements to go on board as well?
Oh, by all means, William. I mean, you can imagine, like I say, turning the world on its head and having these cities everywhere. It's going to take generations. Is it the be all end all as far as where humans could live in a conscious community? I think it is. But that doesn't mean it's going to just replace things. Like, what are you going to do with these cities? These are beautiful places. Like, and Cody's platform that they're building, there's lots of people doing this. And it might surprise people that they're all quite similar, like going to get rid of the 5G technology. We don't need to drive around in gasoline powered cars in these cities. We just live comfortably, grow our food there, and love our families there. And what the hell's wrong with that? I mean, there's lots of people doing that even right now on very basic levels. I've got some friends up in northern BC that it's a bit of a scramble for them, but they've got a little family, 3 kids and mom and dad, and they live out in the bush. And it's like, that's what we're talking about, but getting that together and bringing money so that they can actually build some structures and some infrastructure to it, and then share it, share what they produce on that land. These people have greenhouses and stuff, and it's just amazing what we can do. So.
Cool. At the beginning of this, thank you, Randall. At the beginning of the show, when we jumped over to Cody, we asked him what was going on, and he mentioned a whole bunch of things are happening. I never got a chance, and I wanted to ask this of you, Cody. Is there one or several projects of all the ones that you've had your fingers in that you would say you're most excited about and most interested in, or the most active? And if so, are you willing and able to share a little bit about those particular things?
Yeah, because of being so involved in so many different things, it's tough for me. I've always been this way, where I have so many interests and passions, and even being like an entrepreneur in the past, like wanting to do things, or when I was doing like different things, online business opportunity stuff, like a decade ago, I'm into health and wellness and holistic, healing and, nootropics. And I'm into, all sorts of the metaphysical self-actualization, empowerment. I'm into just anything that really truly like uplifts humanity, and then everything and anything between. Plus I like going like deep into many different other subjects and stuff, and new breakthrough like innovation and technologies, and even like agriculture stuff, and like truly like replenishing the soil, and like truly growing like real like true like organic and foods that are filled with like the life force and all this stuff. Everything's like so depleted. So it's like, it's always been difficult for me, even with my own projects and stuff that I want to do. You know, I wanted to start like supplement companies, and, you know, I'm into fitness and all these other, like so much stuff. It's like, how do I like, you know, narrow this down? Like what one should I put like most of my energy into? I think that's kind of because of me being that way, is kind of why, you know, I really just kind of kept working my way through, you know, the historical assets stuff to, and wanting to be able to like get connected and be in some of these major transactions. So that way I had the resources through, you know, the fundings and stuff, like, you know, the major multi-billion-dollar things that I expected to happen in 2012, you know, for many years, like on a weekly basis. You know, the attorneys and, you know, paymasters are like, oh yeah, it's soon. Like, I wanted the resources to be able to like change the paradigm and the way business was done. I'd love to collaborate. I don't like division, even though it happens. I mean, some people are just psychopaths. Some people have no empathy, no conscience, no compassion. And it's, you know, I've dealt with a lot of these people. They're like narcissists. They truly will drain you. So you got to be like aware of these things, and you know, keep your guard up, because they can be really tricky on how they work. They're good at mimicking and acting like they care, acting like they, you know, truly feel certain emotions, and, you know, want what's best for you or others, or have pure intentions, when truly it's like not the case. You know, those of us that are that type, we're of integrity, we have pure intentions, you know, we care about the all, we care about others, and, you know, we want to do these things. Like it's so hard for us to imagine people being able to be that way, you know. So I've done this a lot, like give people like so many chances, like, oh, maybe they were just, you know, having a bad day, or, you know, whatever, when you start catching on to it. But there's just some out there that, you know, for whatever reason, they're just kind of devoid of some of these things. They just don't operate and think the same way we do. They're like disconnected from that spiritual connection. So basically, having the resources, you know, that's why I just kept working through, because I'm like, I want to do so. It's never like really been about the money. Like early on, it was like, oh, I wanted to do something really successful, but it was because I wanted to be able to have the resources to help other people with their dreams and their goals, and figure out ways to collaborate, bring things together, you know, whether it's different businesses, and not have to be like attached to one thing myself, but to be able to help in the areas that I can help in, where I have strengths, you know, where I could kind of like be like a free agent in a sense, but, you know, still have my own things too, but be able to pay people, you know, well enough to come in and let them step into their power, into where they truly excel, where their passions are, you know. So that's, I'm trying to think the original question. Oh, so as of now, so anyway, that's just basically like how I am, because that's on my mind all the time. I'm like, okay, with my first project, what do I want to do? I'm like, I want to like do them all, you know, because it's just the way my mind works. You know, some people are that way, but you know, with all these various passions, and it's like, which one, you know, what's my true purpose? You know, which one? And I guess I haven't really truly figured it out yet, but I think it's more along the lines of what I just said, being able to work in all these ways. And as of right now, I'm most excited about what I was saying with the platform and the enterprise and the things that they have going on there, because, you know, probably by the end of next week, like I'll be fully engaged, have access codes, and be, you know, doing things within that, which is really has me excited at this point. Are you guys still there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we lost your video for a second, but you're there.
Oh, okay.
We heard the whole thing.
Okay. And and then besides that, because of kind of through certain things and being so tired of nothing happening for so many years, like I've mentioned several times, I sought out years ago, like 4 years ago, to like find the disconnects, find all these key people wherever I could. And I just like kept working through within banking, within, you know, whatever these fulcrum points were, with whoever, you know, had amazing projects or doing amazing things, and just kept connecting, or even just people that were just had amazing knowledge in certain subject areas, that because I'm able to like see how everything kind of like works together. And I'm like, I'm going to try to make this happen and try to bring people together, the right people together, especially when it comes to this funding stuff. And through that, there's so many other things, you know, various kingdoms, various other amazing project owners, like what Randall was saying with that, the what is it, the Andromeda or Andromeda?
Yeah.
How do you pronounce it? Yeah, Andromeda.
Andromeda.
Yeah, I seen that on the site. Like, that's the stuff that excites me. Like that, like truly excites me. And there's several other, you know, people and things out there, like not really on that scale, but truly have these other visions of these other like light cities and you know, communities and societies that are set up, you know, in all these ways where, and these healing centers and rejuvenation, like retreats, and like that stuff excites me, where people can go and, you know, start healing and start learning these things and not have to be stuck in this mundane. They can step into what they're so passionate about. It doesn't feel like a job, you know, but they're just doing what they love. You know, that's what really excites me. And so there's many other various things that I'm like are exciting, but as of now, it's mainly this one main thing, because it's, you know, it's about to kick off. But all these other things, yeah, with DOSM, it's, you know, looking on the site and everything, it's that just like, you know, that fills me with joy when I get on something like that and I'm reading, you know, through a website and some of these projects that people have. That's like, you know, that'll pull me out from like a low mood, just doing that, you know, seeing these visions of others. And so
I wanted to congratulate you, actually, because I remember one of the first episodes where you joined us, and you know, you were still explaining about the challenges and how tough it can be, and a bit of a grind over the last, you know, 4+ and more years that you had. You know, like you were involved with a lot of these different projects, and things were looking good for a while, and then you'd run into a roadblock, and then you go back, you know, a couple of steps. And at times you must have been in a situation where you had to say, is it really worth that I do all this stuff? I mean, you've got to be asking that. And now things are starting to, you can just start to not just see, but sense, but feel that things are changing. And maybe it doesn't look anything like what you thought it might look like when things start to happen. But I mean, I can see that there is a new level of excitement for you and a new rejuvenation, and that's got to charge up your batteries for sure. So congratulations, and I'm feeling your excitement. So good on you.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Randall, yeah. I think now would be a good time to touch in with you about, you know, any other feelings or emotions or anything you want to cover that we haven't touched upon, because my questions are pretty general this week. I just felt like we need some catching up to do. But yeah, anything you want to say, to anything that Cody's mentioned, anything that we've talked about before, anything you'd like to talk about before we go. But I'm kind of feeling we're getting near the end here, and I want to give you a chance to share whatever it is that you haven't had a chance to express yet.
Yeah, my phone screen just keeps going and going. There's people trying to reach me, so I think it is time to shut her down, guys. But great discussion, and you know, hopefully people see this as a holistic picture from Cody and I. As much as there's, you know, details and stuff, it is a big picture process that's happening, and that happening is not going to be stopped anymore. And you know, we tipped such a huge scale here in Canada. My pride is just boiling over. And I mean, don't get me wrong, there's thousands of trucks came up from America too. And honest to God, I believe they're going to head that other direction once they're done. Once they get that little rat completely out of there, they're going to turn those trucks and head to Washington, D.C. That's what I feel is coming. If, unless Trump does something in between, because it's got to happen from the people. And it's stirred up enough people that it's, it's not going to go backwards anymore. So yeah, if you guys are done, I'll say my little thing and we'll get it over with.
Sure, Randall. Exciting times for sure. It just great. I'm glad to see things are going so well for you as well, and with DOSM, and just in your own life. I mean, you're loving. There's no question you're loving the truckers, and I think the whole world is loving the truckers, as far as I can see, even from other countries and other places. It's been fabulous. So please, with your final blessing, let's put a bow on it and we'll call it a day.
Right on. Well, the best part about these truckers is they're simpler. They're even simpler than me and Cody as far as their words. It's like, yeah,
Mhm.
there was one little video I watched. I got to share this quick. It was a newscast too. It was on another one of these mainstream media, and the gal, she was trying to draw this guy out. She says to him, "So you guys are protesting the man things. I guess we can say mandate without getting kicked off YouTube for crossing the border for truckers." He said, "No, we're not protesting anything. We're just going to sit here until all those mandates are done." And then he stopped, never said another word. And she's trying to egg him on to say something more, So the next question she comes up with was, "Well, what about these extremists? We're hearing all kinds of things, the potential dangers and blah, blah, blah." And he looks at her and he says, "I don't know. I haven't seen any of that. We got lots of kids with us." And he stopped again. It was like fucking no words, It was so brilliant on his part just to keep it simple, Don't get drawn into a fight, folks. And those simple words are what I'll finish it off with now, with peace, harmony, love, abundance, and freedom for everyone and everything every day on our minds. Abundance, sovereignty, health, love, and euphoria. I want to finish it with something that I know was in Cody's heart too, because he's in this bank business as deep as I am. So I'll say I am an abundant, healthy, sovereign, loving, harmonious, imaginative man, co-creating abundance, sovereignty, health, love, and euphoria for all, as the sender, the receiver, and something the banking industry forgot, the one who shares the abundant energy, frequency, love, all that stuff, currency of God, with the precious treasure and resources of Mother Earth, to the people with love, for their comfort and for projects that are beneficial to all that do no harm. Thank you, Cody. Thanks for coming in today, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Totally. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.